Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 4. We have a Europe PC game here, and we have Supremacy versus Luminosity. There is a Luminosity EU and a Luminosity NA. We are, of course, today talking about Luminosity EU because we're in EU, and they are against Supremacy, a team that I am not familiar with. We're always happy to see, especially as we are already, as we've mentioned before, at round number 4. Round 3 was lower bracket. We did not jump in on that. Luminosity, they came 4th in the Invitational, losing out in a 3-2 to OG, the team that eventually ended up coming in 2nd. So Luminosity looking to get even further in this tournament, as we're starting to see the Hela and the Winter Soldier getting banned out. Venom and Wolverine will be protected. Hyper-aggressive. We're on Yggdrasil path. Supremacy starting off on defense. Luminosity on attack. Let's see how they do here. This is a best of 3 as we're in the round 4 stage of our double elimination bracket. It is the upper bracket. Loser will be sent down to the lower bracket. Winner will continue with that extra lifeline intact. Invisible Woman banned out. We see so many Lunar Snow bans. Very few Invisible Woman bans here. So as such, we're going to see Fate immediately jumping onto that Invisible Woman Oasis. Onto that Lunar Snow Oasis, doing the same. Can you tell I've done like 5 of these today already? Venom, protected, unsurprisingly, going to be picked up by Luminosity. Oasis, bringing out the Loki. Loki plus Lunar Snow, powerful reason, and the Morn, also untouched. Both teams going to be hovering that. And then Wolverine at the ready. Could be seeing that force destroyed here. For now, though, let's introduce our players in this game number 1. On the left-hand side, in the blue trunks on defense, it is going to be Supremacy with Wolver playing the Magneto. Oasis on the Loki, started off on the rocket to make sure that the Wolverine got a jetpack. We have Maluki going to be playing the Lunar Snow. Bad Genius on the Wolverine. Atrocity going to be playing the Namor. And DRP is playing Groot. And on the right-hand side, in the red trunks, it will be Luminosity with Fate playing the Lunar Snow. Rajaro is playing the Magneto. Trust Me is playing the Venom. Forgot words there for a second. Naga playing the Mod. Level 1 Crook will be bringing out the Loki. And Cestroid, also with a jetpack, on that Wolverine. Wrap and grab behind. Let's see if they can get a bit of a trap or a kidnap. Yes, they can, but they don't get the jetpack off here. Instead, they're just going to try and break through some of that Groot wall. Holding on to the jetpack here, so they can still go for a quick pickup onto someone else. Bad Genius has used theirs. Drops low. Will shield up to make sure that they can keep pushing. Destroyed. Actually getting pulled in. Finds DRP and takes them high into the air. Tries to melt through them, but wasn't able to dash far enough to take them back into their team, taking a little bit of damage. And the Mod continues to do some great work on this defense here. Atrocity continuing to try and zone out, try and focus onto that Wolverine. Venom comes in with the stun with the Frenzied Arrival to knock him up. Gets focused down, but the Symbiotic Resilience making it very hard to push up here. Naga on the other side is matching. Sending some great harassment out here, and once again, Atrocity getting pressured out here by Trust Me on that Venom. But Trust Me does finally fall here. Level 1 Crook, it was Oasis who used the ultimate, goes for the clone. Heals up, holding onto that ultimate to the last possible second because it extends the ultimate just in time. Maximum time usage there. Currently hovering on a heal. Could swap to damage because currently they're not taking any. But it's just going to play safe, play defensive. They realize they might have ulted a little bit too early there. Daga poking away, sends out the Oceanic Dominions. Up onto the statue to try and deal with flankers. Good damage output here. Straggling Prison coming in. Here's the Horde of Proteus for the turnaround. Meteor M directly onto the regeneration domain, preventing any pickups here as Berserker Rage comes in with the final stand from Bad Genius to try and melt through. Destroyed with the counter, takes Bad Genius and tries to focus them down. Neither one going out here as Fate of Both Worlds from level 1 Crook will hold Luminosity in it, and Supremacy are melted off the point. In the choke point, down the hallway, utilizing that Lunar Snow DPS. Luminosity are able to push on through. Supremacy, the defense is shut down. They have to back out and regroup here, as Trust Me continues to pile on the pressure at the choke point to the respawn. Nice group wall to try and zone them away a bit here. Finds them on, trying to take out those Oceanic Dominions and the frozen spawns. Destroyed, getting stunned out, finds Magneto, tries to take him down. That's going to be a magnetic barrier and the body block to take them down. Wolver off the point. Bad Genius was able to back away though, rejoins their teams, and they are available for this defense. Venom onto the point, tackled in to the choke point, counter charge from Destroyed though. And Destroyed once again on point with these pickups. Finding the angles when needed, sees Atrocity. Wants to try and take him down if they can. Dives forward, taking a little too much damage though. Getting healed up by Loki, slow but steady. Finds Groot right as the Straggling Prison comes out. And Crook, with the Fate of Both Worlds, is preventing the capitalization on that Straggling Prison from DRP. Oasis is matching as well to make sure that their team can contest the fight. Horde of Proteus comes out. Naga will be the one to fall. Atrocity takes them out here. Maoki dropping their Fate of Both Worlds to chain it. Same with Fate. Naga, the only one down so far though. Meteor M coming in from Rajaro, taking out Destroyed, takes up DRP. Wolver and Atrocity go down, and Luminosity keep this push going. Pushing them off the point, trying to keep that prevention, allow that cart to make the rest of the way in, while the rest of the team has dove deep to zone out the rest of Supremacy here. Now it's the long spawn for Supremacy. DRP abandons the Groot, bringing out the Venom of their own. Now they have a little bit of crowd control, a little bit of setup. Bad Genius looking to see if they can pick anyone up. Namor off on the flank. You can hear those bare feet slapping. Naga on the flank with the empowerment onto the Oceanic Dominion. Exactly what you want to see if you're flanking with Namor. Setting yourself up beautifully. Takes out 2 with the help of Venom 3. Making it 4. And Trust Me, he's picking up the majority of the eliminations here. But it was thanks to the setup, engage, and defense here. Luminosity push on in. They're looking for a triple cap in this game, number 1. And they are smashing their way through it. Wolver taking a little bit of damage, but holding the line for the moment. Bad Genius in the duel with Destroyed will back away from it. Wants to make sure that they're on the point, trying to find onto the border of the back line, but we see Naga escaping up to the high ground. Level 1 Crook into the Fate of Both Worlds quite early here. Oasis going to be matching as Meteor M comes in from Wolver. Tanked beautifully, allowing nothing. Horde of Proteus into the spawn, but final stand coming in from Bad Genius to turn this round. Destroyed is getting absolutely well destroyed here, but they're tagging through, giving it everything they can, but they are cleaned off the point, and Supremacy will hold. Naga, 13%. We've got the Feast from the Abyss, we've got Meteor M, and we've got Fate of Both Worlds for Luminosity. Fate of Both Worlds, Horde of Proteus, and Karmic Revival. DRP swapping over, giving them a 1-2-3 composition. This composition is extremely rare, but it's at least better than the 1-3-2. Trust me. Try to apply the pressure. Horde of Proteus from Atrocity, but that's going to be a very aggressive play from Trust Me. Going to try and force those Fate of Both Worlds, and will do so. Charged in by Wolverine. Has that symbiotic resistance on cooldown, so not available. Karmic Revival to try and bring back the team. Oasis, they can't reach them though. Trust Me does finally fall to a Trusty. Oasis will get caught in that Karmic Revival with 5 seconds left on the respawn, so they will get some value out of it. Final stand from Bad Genius, not finding the targets. Naga will fall to a Trusty. Zestroid has their own though, onto Magneto, trying to take their push on through. Gets frozen out here, targeted down by Bad Genius, getting melted here, but they're trying to hold it as Meteor Rem comes in from Wolver. Snipe onto level 1 Crook. Oasis gets destroyed, and Luminosity are being pushed back. Wolver gets a double here. 22 seconds left. Naga trying to make their way in, trying to set them team up for the defense. Oasis with a fade of both worlds nice and early. Because of that clone, it was about to expire. To Trust Me to try and take him out, which they do go down very early. That's going to be a soul regeneration domain, says Stroid. Tackled in by Bad Genius as Supremacy look to clean up here. Bad Genius melting through Naga against the Horde of Proteus right before their fall. Trust Me, portaling onto the point to hold for their team. They got to step on. They will make it. Tackled off, though, by Bad Genius. And that might be enough. Final stand finds no one. Cleaning on through. Taking down Luminosity with the fate of both worlds. Turret on the point. Takes it out. Bad Genius with the delay. Tackling Rajaro. They're just taking them off the point one by one. Naga with the Squirrel Girl, but not reaching the point in time here. Level 1 Crook is trying to delay with the fate of both worlds. They're giving everything they can. Trust Me is coming in with the Venom to make sure that they can touch the point as overtime ticks down. Level 1 Crook expires the ultimate Karmic Revival. DRP bringing back the team, allowing this push to continue. Level 1 Crook is getting everything they can, but they've got to make sure that someone sits to the point at all time. Right now it's Rajaro as Horde of Proteus comes down, stuns them out. Wolver with the Meteor Rem to try and clean out the objective. Finds the corner! Takes down one, gets two, and the point is cleared. Supremacy take the hold. They prevent the triple cap, meaning that all they need is that triple cap to take the first game in this best of 3 series. An intense back and forth. Luminosity held that for so long. Gave everything they could, but Bad Genius showing why Wolverine is banned out so often, especially on maps like this, being able to just force people as they came through the portal off the point one by one by one by one. Keeping control. Nicely done, Supremacy. They now have to beat 2 captures, 104 meters, 82 centimeters. Essentially a full cap is what they need here. Bad Genius. Looking for that jetpack. Got it. Luminosity. How do they adjust for the defense? They've got themselves that rocket. Waiting for a jetpack for Trust Me, which they will now get. Jetpack Groot. The ambush is real. Zestroid moving off of the Wolverine. Brings out the Adam Warlock of their own. So they are now going for a 2-1-3. Oh, we're going all the rollouts. We've got Rocket Pack to lunge. DRP now allowing Wolver to activate the team ability before swapping onto the Venom because they have the faster rollout speed. They're using every trick in the book. Our Supremacy Rockets Pack lunge with the Magneto upgrade. They're having a nice day at work, diving in. DRP frozen immediately. Symbiotic Resistance to try and absorb some of that damage. Tanking through. Zestroid doing some pretty solid damage though. Cosmic Cluster versus Venom can do huge work. Has the Soul Bond though because the dive is so aggressive here. Make it very hard for them to find the right angle. Wolver is playing so far up here. Zoning them off the point so hard. Trying to go to the back line as that's a flank from Atrocity through the doorway. With the summons. Portal from Trust Me. Swapping on to the Doctor Strange to try and get themselves back onto this point to hold it at point one. But they are just getting bullied off here one by one. But it's not going to try and contest it. Atrocity breaks the shield, forces them down, tries to hold the line, trying to get the counter pickup onto the enemy. Namor, though, dropped low. Aquatic Blessing needs some healing. We'll get a little bit from Luna, but sniped off the point here. And Luminosity will hold at point one, but barely. Very touch and go there. Cosmic Clusters coming out basically on cooldown. Naga setting up defenses. Getting some very good damage. Finds DRP. Wolverine has come in for Bad Genius. Here comes the clone. Oasis. Fate of both worlds at the ready. Immediately drops the turn on this. Here comes level 1 Crook with their own Meteor M. Comes out, finds LG Fate. Destroyed is taken out as well. There's no Cocoon available. And once again, Supremacy are pushing in Horde of Proteus. But their support is giving so much healing. Trust me and Naga both go down. And it's a massive numbers advantage right now. Takes down the rest. And Supremacy will finally take point number 1, but that was a long hold by Luminosity. Now we have that Karmic Revival at the ready. Venom onto the point. You see a couple auto cancels there in order to maximize the damage output. Animation cancelling to get that faster auto attack speed. Soulbond to guarantee their team's survival against the Venoms if they can't capitalize. Bad Genius trying to creep forward, trying to find that isolation, unable to do so. Luminosity keeping the defense up, keeping the zoning going, but again, the Maud causing issues. Atrocity up on the high ground, flanking with this Namor. Taking a bit of a duel versus Naga, forced out to the low ground as there were aquatic dominions behind them. But now they're with their team, now they can push on in. Bad Genius, final stand, forces out the Karmic Revival and the Fate of both worlds. Ultimates being burnt here. Second that expires. We see the push come in here. It's Destroyed revives level 1 Crook. Level 1 Crook taken out a second time. Karmic Revival is over. It is time to move on in. As Oasis with the Fate of both worlds is keeping the team up as they push on in. Level 1 Crook's destroyed. Naga goes down. Rajiro with the Meteor M finds nothing. As Naga goes down, Rajiro, trust me, and Fate is already trying to get back to the spawn. Chased on in. Will get away as DRP is forced to back out. But Luminosity using Karmic Revival and Fate of both worlds at the same time, allowing Supremacy to time their engage. And right now, they're trying to hold the point here, trying to hold the latest Destroyed is back onto that Wolverine to try and break through, but there's just so many Fate of both worlds. They can't break through the damage of Maluki right now. Bad Genius dropped low, tanks through. And actually, Destroyed, the ultimate's expiring. They're in a little bit of trouble. Regeneration Domain to try and buy that little bit of extra time. Healing from the Loki, as Trust Me will fall. As they're pushing on through. Bad Genius setting up with the final stand. Destroyed takes out Wolver. Atrocity goes down. And Bad Genius is starting to become outnumbered. And that is Destroyed. Holding long enough. Looked on the edge for so long there, but was finally able to burst on through. Here comes the push once again. The defensive position set up by Naga, making it hard for people to make their way onto the point. Defensive Loki firing squad also up on this point. Lokis and Namors, making it very hard to step in here. Wolver with the Meteor M. Naga, Horde of Proteus. They watch the flank. That's going to be a kidnap by Bad Genius. Onto Strange, they break the shield. Is there enough DPS to finish them? No, there is not. Holding the line. Here comes the clone. Trying to burst on through. Level 1 Crook matching the same. They're going to try and make it happen. 5 seconds left. Fate of both worlds will be popped so they can get onto Bad Genius so they can try and capitalize on through here. Level 1 Crook going to be matching. It's just a dance party on the point right now. Wolver with the Meteor M finds Naga off to the side here. Fate going to be timing theirs right at the end. Will overlap a little bit with level 1 Crook, but they still transfer over, allowing Rajiro to Meteor M. That's a lot of regeneration domains. That will shut that down. Maluki keeping their team topped up as well with their own Fate of both worlds. Horde of Proteus into the choke point as Supremacy creep on in. Aya Magamoto, as Trust Me flies onto the point, takes out Maluki, and they're going to force back Supremacy once again. Luminosity with the holds this round. Portal for DRP to try and get them on the point. They've got 15 seconds remaining. Where are they going to drop it? Not got a lot of time. Round the corner. give themselves at least a little bit of cover. Overtime will be ticked. This gives them a little bit of time, but last stand is available. Force destroyed. Bad Genius going to drop theirs first, though. Isolating. Hoarding the regeneration domain has to back away. We'll get into their own teams as last stand. Destroyed into the backline. Trying to take out Loki, but will go down. Oasis and Oasis trying to keep the team topped up right now as DRP comes in from above. And Luminosity, they have the numbers. Supremacy forced off the point. And game number 1 goes over to Luminosity. An intense first matchup between these two teams. Level 1 Crook taking the MVP there. And 1-0 in this best of 3 to Luminosity, although Supremacy giving them a bit of a run for their money. Trusty with 17 final hits, 32 eliminations. SVP, not quite getting MVP as it's going to be. Level 1 Crook sniping that in. 18 eliminations, 4 final hits, 47k healing. Highest in the game by 4 whole K, an entire destroyed worth. As they took a short moment to play Adam Warlock. Top eliminations, as we say, a Trusty. Top final hits, also a Trusty. Least amount of times getting eliminated. Oasis able to stay up most of that game. Only 3 times. That's 2 less than Fate, who was the second lowest. Top damage done. 31k. Can you say it with me now? It's a Trusty. Top damage blocked. 44k. Only winning by 1k. DRP. Able to sneak in with the top damage blocks there. We've already talked about top healing. What an incredible game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. As a reminder, if you're enjoying these games, please consider subscribing and ringing that notification bell. You can support this channel, liking, commenting, all those things, sharing, tweeting at Netties or Marvel Rivals if you want to see me on the main broadcast, but don't be rude and don't brigade. 1 tweet is more than enough. As long as you spread it out enough, it's fine, but don't be that guy who sends it on every post. Don't be that. You can also become a member to get these casts early. You can hit that join button to send a one-time donation to support your boy, who has currently no sponsors. Just YouTube AdSense money. And make sure to follow my stream in the description and also leave a comment saying if I was to stream, whether you would prefer it on Twitch or YouTube or both. For now, let's get set up for map number 2 in this best of 3 series.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding from the...
And we are back. Also, I had a quick look during the loading screen. It seems Supremacy, DRP, from the team that came second in Europe here, by the looks of it. And there was someone else who might have been Oasis, who I believe was on the team that came third. I'm double checking right now. Oops. Sorry about that. You saw my desktop for a moment there. I'm sure you'll live. We want the Season 0 stuff. We want EU. And teams that came second was showing Kanda. And then it was 0% that came third. 0%. Destroyed, we already knew about. Whoever it was, it's not showing up on my list here for Supremacy. But I did see some names. And then we had the... from someone who came second, apparently, which would be... oh, sorry, that came third. DRP, yeah, from Yoikanda. DRP, there you go. From the team that came second in Europe. So this is a good team, Supremacy. Luminosity. Some well-known names as well. We're going to see Hela, Star-Lord, Wolverine, well-deserved ban after that last game. Namor will still be protected by Luminosity and Invisible Woman for Supremacy. And we'll see a Rocket ban this time. Okay.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
Teams may have wanted to bring in a Rocket Punisher or a Rocket Winter Soldier combo. Not going to be seeing that this time. Look at this. We're seeing Namor Storm. Bad Genius thinking about bringing out the Storm. Might go for something else. Luminosity sticking with that Winter Soldier Namor combo. An absolute classic. Luminosity on defense off Midtown. Supremacy on attack here. Let's see what they do here. It's a pretty solid lineup they've got here. Very heavy on the defense. Bringing out the Groot to block some of the damage. These walkways here, very hard. These main streets, very hard to really engage through. Supremacy. They are currently looking at the Storm Namor here. Otherwise, almost identical composition. We are seeing that Invisible Woman, which we aren't seeing for Luminosity as they went with the Loki. Let's see if this Storm is going to work out. Just Bad Genius starts to apply the pressure, finds Naga on the flank, and this is the issue. Namor, really solid against some of those flyers. If you can get the right angle and get them to target, you can get some pretty solid damage output, and already dropping a little bit low. Knocked it down, but the healing output is good there. They've got the healing output. Snowflake currently not dropped onto the flying character. As Wolver will slowly creep forward using the walls to give cover. But look, they're just getting bombarded from every angle. Loki clones, Oceanic Dominions. It's just everything everywhere all at once. But Atrocity on the flank has managed to give the team some space. Atrocity with the zoning. Taking a little bit of damage. But it looks like Supremacy have been able to find an opening here. Rajaro. Little bit of poke getting zoned out by DRP. Keeping the pressure on. Pushing back. Rajaro has been able to break the containment, getting them back onto the point so they can try and defend this. Naga with the Horde of Proteus, as does Atrocity. Shots coming in, sends out the Oceanic Dominions up to the high ground. Atrocity drops so low, but tanks on through. Bad Genius with the Omega Hurricane, immediately forcing out the Fate of Both Worlds, which means they will not have enough damage to break on through, but they will if they combine it with Meteor Ram. Atrocity with the Horde of Proteus as well. They burn everything, but here comes Trust Me with the Fate, with the Strangling Prison, and Naga with the Horde of Proteus, but they can't break it as Maluki drops the invisible boundary, and Bad Genius gets a pickup along with DRP. Trust Me falls, Luminosity wiped, and Supremacy will continue to push on in. Fate with the defense here. Doing such good healing output for Luminosity, but the timing for Supremacy, able to break through the Fate of Both Worlds. And we're able to do enough damage, and they even kept their own Fate of Both Worlds. Using Invisible Boundary to protect against the counter engage of Luminosity. Sestroid on the Winter Soldier. Bardakirk finds the Magneto, but pushed back, forced down, taken out. Bad Genius with the Lightning, doing huge damage on the chase. And they are just in control right now. Supremacy are just cruising through right now. Luminosity, They do have Kraken Impact. They do have a chance to stop this before it hits point number 2. Wolver right now just trying to zone Tated Shock. Not finding the target. Rajaro once again leading the way. Trust me. Just coming in as well. They're going to try and contest this. But here comes the Omega Hurricane into the back line. Going to try and hold it. They're utilizing the wall to buy time. Directly onto the back line. Kraken Impact to try and get out of there and burst through as Atrocity falls. But Bad Genius takes out Destroyed, preventing the resets. DRP takes out Rajaro. Trust me, with the Straggling Prison to try and turn this round onto DRP, but they're being blocked out completely. Fate of both worlds, the Straggling Prison, and of course the Invisible Boundary coming in. Maluki keeping the team upright as DRP has that Meteor M waiting for the support ults to expire, but they don't need them as they burst on through. That's going to be a nice regeneration domain to buy a little bit of extra time, and Fate is going to try and tank through a Meteor M to hold them over the team, and they will do so with the help of the shielding from the Magneto to try and keep this going. Rajiro is going to fall though, getting dropped too low, cannot tank through. Bad Genius interrupted by this pull there, but it's not enough. They still get the pickups, and Supremacy claim point number 2 and just keep going. Chasing, trust me, utilizing the flying ability to just fly over the group walls, allowing them to chase them down. The Storm working out fantastically right now for Supremacy and Luminosity. They're not going to adjust yet. Naga trying to give them some good angles. Siege on in. Taking out the group walls, making so that they have the best angle to engage with. Push on in, map transformation incoming. Naga times it well, meaning that they now have a completely clear re-engage. Bad Genius with the Omega Hurricane and Wolver. They get a triple. They wipe them off, and Luminosity are cleaned out again. Creeping in towards point number 3. Fate goes down on the Jeff as they tried to rush in time with just 2, 3, 1, and that is it. Don't ask how I got 2, 3, 1. No, pretend you didn't hear that. That is the triple cap by Supremacy. They're able to take control of this second map. And now Luminosity, they need to triple cap in order to force a tiebreaker. Otherwise, we may be heading to a map number 3. Same strategies by the looks of it, although Sestroid, with that Storm causing some issues, thinking about swapping off the Winter Soldier onto the Punisher, perhaps. And Luminosity, potentially a little bit of regret about banning out that rocket, that infinite ammo. Would make it very easy for them to try and melt through those group walls and through that Storm right now. Gonna try and bring it back. Luminosity, they need the triple cap to secure their victory here, or they'll be sent to another map here. Atrocity doing such good work. Let's actually have a look at the halftime statistics here. Very low elimination game for Luminosity here. 2 final hits for Naga, 1 for Sestroid. On the other side, 7 for Wolver, 8 for DRP, 7 for Bad Genius, 6 for Atrocity, which is actually much lower than last time. Bad Genius is being the carry in this game. Doing huge work. Bad Genius, incredible on the Wolverine, isolating the right targets. Incredible on the Storm, able to just do the damage output. This play is crazy. Immediate zoning being brought up by Atrocity as Luminosity begin to go for the high ground wraparound. Slowly taking out these group walls. Bad Genius sieging in. Taking quite a lot of damage from the flanking Naga, who's doing some good work, but about to be isolated. Taking up the duel. Gets the shield from the Invisible Woman, as that was very rough there for a moment. And Naga is very isolated right now. Still doing good damage, though. Those headshots. Almost finding the Invisible Woman even. Frozen Spawn. And they're creating a lot of space as Luminosity, slow but steady, are creeping in. Bad Genius with a big burst of damage to try and set up. Wolver gets pulled in by the Bionic Hook on the Winter Soldier and are dropping quite low here. Dragging through, walls up, will make their way back to the rest of their team where they can try and get some of that sustain going. Bad Genius forced to take cover. Trying to keep this zone going. staying low to maximize the lightning and the damage bonus here. Has a Mega Hurricane, but pulled on in! Fate of both worlds, and it looks like a Mega Hurricane can actually get them out of that ult. Coming in from behind, big damage, Fate of both worlds, and combined though with the Strangling Prison, setting up an Meteor M! DRP with the double! And once again, they utilize the Omega Hurricane to set up, as opposed to finish off here. Keep them grouped up, capitalize with Wolver, and finish with DRP while holding on to that Horde of Proteus.
Get that vehicle moving again.
Luminosity regrouping. They've still got 2 minutes to get this first point to keep this going. Rajaro starting with the damage. DRP dropped low, forced to back away. Tainted Shock even coming in. Floating down, but the Mortar continuing to harass on the flanks here, prevent reinforcements. Thanks to the positioning they've set up here. Really just trying to guard flanks. Maximize damage output. You can see those Terrans minions are getting picked off very quickly. Naga on the wide flank coming in here. Huge flank to try and take out a strategist on the backline, forces out the Osiris Dominion, and Sestroid comes in with a double on the Kraken Impact, making a triple reset off the board. And with the distraction set up by Naga, Sestroid capitalizes. And they are able to take point number 1. Luminosity continue to make their way in, looking for that triple cap to force an overtime. DRP has the Meteor M atrocity with the Horde of Proteus to set the team up. If they want to try and go for these big wombo plays, they're best off waiting for Wolver, but they could just use it with Bad Genius, as the American Hurricane does actually pull ally enemies in towards the actual Hurricane part, which could combo very well, and they're going to be utilizing it here. Pushed on in, Horde of Proteus at the ready. Meteor M already there, pulled into the center. Meteor M takes out level 1 Crook once again, and now they Horde of Proteus and drop the Strangling Prison. But Fate trying to heal the team through this as Rajaro with their own Meteor M in between the walls, not able to find the elimination here. Trying to focus on the DRP. Naga getting chased down and isolated. They're trying to find freedom, but they're getting focused down, isolated, and picked off here. Bad Genius dropped low, but has the strategist, has the healing, and they are able to zone them away. Luminosity once again repelled. Supremacy going for a basically one long wombo there. Capitalizing, just make sure that everything was burned. Starting off with the Omega Hurricane into the Meteor M. And then once everything had been used to try and protect from that, and even after taking someone down, they drop the Strangling Prison into the Horde of Proteus. Just maximizing duration, maximizing pressure, and stopping Luminosity really having anything to really defend against this. With only one of these big shielding abilities, no indestructible guard from like the Hulk or anything like that, as everyone is moving onto the group right now. Here comes the Omega Hurricane once again. Quick load onto the Fate of both worlds to make sure it doesn't happen. And this, for the first time, will force Bad Genius to back out of an ultimate. They do not commit, but they did force out the Fate of both worlds. Meteor M comes in, and Zestroid going to try and capitalize on all these big ultimates being utilized. Taken out, though. Bad Genius snipes them down. 1 minute 30 left. Trust me, focus down, taking so much damage. Regeneration Domain buys them a little bit of extra time, but they are body blocked in here. Fate rejoins with Naga and level 1 Crook. And look at this, destroyed right at the end with 1 minute to go. They're going to bring out their own Storm. See if they can make a difference with it. Trust me. Has the Strangling Prison. They have Meteor M from Rajiro. Try and push on in. Atrosky has the Horde of Proteus to try and make space, but trust me, it's who we need to pay attention to as they have the main engage tool. Taking out Wolver before even utilizing the Strangling Prison. Taking out Storm. Bad Genius goes down, and this is Luminosity absolutely taking control here. Fate of both worlds has to be popped to try and give time for the team to rejoin here. That's going to be a Horde of Proteus dropped, but finding absolutely no value here. Trust me. trying to force the group up to capitalize to get onto that point number 2. They've only got 30 seconds left, so they need to make sure that someone is on the point. They've got 3 people on as the car begins to move in. DRP with the Meteor M to take out Fate and Destroyed! It shuts them down, but here comes the Straggling Prince to try and turn this round as here comes Omega Hurricane to keep Supremacy pushing in. They get 2, they get 3, and Supremacy are cleaning up Luminosity. Naga goes down. Fate's trying to make it Fate of both worlds this pot, but they can't reach. Supremacy hold. The score is 1-1, and we are heading to a third map.
Another epic victory. Big win.
Bad Genius. Well-deserved MVP with that storm. Score is 1-1. 42 eliminations, 15 of which were final hits. Top final hits goes over to DRP with 18. But Bad Genius, a truly well-deserved MVP there. Getting taken out the second least amount of times with Wolver and Oasis. Able to get the lowest elimination count there, both only getting taken out twice. What a game. What a series this is turning out to be. Top damage. Quite a few 20Ks here, but it's the 34K of Bad Genius that shows why a lot of people expected Storm to see more play going into this season. But we're only seeing it picked up rarely, but when it appears, it's getting the work done. Top damage blocked 58K for Trust Me, who also did 20K damage. 1 final hit, 8 eliminations. Wolver, though, 32 eliminations, 9 of them being final hits. DRP 34 and 18. The front line is absolutely crazy here. Top healing, going to be 38, 44K for Fate. 6K more than level 1 Crook. They both out-healed very effectively, though. Supremacy unable to keep up fully there. Luminosity. Their lead has slipped away. We are now evened up. Losing team goes down to the lower bracket. Winning team will continue their run through the upper bracket. Team that came 4th in the Invitational Tournament versus a team with a couple 2nd and 3rd place members from Season 0. Let's see who comes out on top as we get prepared for map number 3, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get ourselves set up. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Hit the join button, hit thanks. Follow me on Blue Sky. See you all for map number 3.
So freezing, so cold, behold, frostbite, they feeling. I could tear you apart, or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste, and my mind starts peeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up, got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times, cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. And I ain't gonna give up, got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times, cause anything worth doing is a tough climb.
And we are back for map number 3, ladies and gentlemen. This will decide who moves on and who will be sent down to the lower bracket. Supremacy are now on the left, Luminosity now on the right. And we're starting off with that Wolverine ban, and Hella will be taken out. We have our first domination map. Invisible Woman gonna be protected. Very powerful, especially if you might be planning on picking up, say, a Storm again. Star-Lord will this time get protected, make their way onto the board. Is Storm deserving of a ban this time? Or are Luminosity confident? What's the play? They take out Luna Snow. Fate of both worlds being very difficult for them to deal with. And Adam Warlock, with Star-Lord being shown, immediately taken away.
Pick your hero.
With Loki and Adam Warlock on the board, they don't want to take those risks. Speaking of Loki, we see that coming in with the Invisible Woman for double invisible barriers. Visible Boundary, sorry. Atrocity off the Namor without the Lunar Snow. They decide that they don't want it. They instead go for the Winter Soldier. Sticking with that Storm though. Gonna loop it. It's destroyed. And Naga both looking at the Star-Lord. Naga though gonna be bringing in the Storm of their own. They go for double flyers here. Let's see if it works out for them. Oasis going to be starting off.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Where's that BRB? Give your team a little bit of armor. Or are they just planning on running this? They do have a Winter Soldier. They could just go for Ammo Invention, but I'm surprised they're not. I was about to say, I'm surprised they didn't go for a BRB. Give their team that little bit of armor. There's really no reason not to. Looks like it's going to be Oasis on that Loki.
5, 4,
Nope, on the rocket. Make up your mind.
1. All you need to do is
They're going to run it.
area.
Rocket Raccoon coming in. Fate starting off with Jeff to give their team a speed boost so they can hit the point first. High ground going to be taken. Sestroid will be the first one to grab that high ground. Scout out, sees them all below. Naga starting to poke on in. Bad Genius taking a little bit of damage. Is in range of that BRB we're talking about though. As Oasis has made their way to the point. Sestroid gets lightning. Takes a lot of damage there. Forced to back away. That's Wolver and trust me. Battle out. Playing a different third-person game made by a different developer. Building walls. Setting up their defensive positions right now. Wolver doing big DPS. Naga up above, over the wall, allowing them to do the damage, but the BRB will bring back Wolver. Naga doing big damage, but DRP, now the only Vanguard on the point, dropping low, trying to keep themselves up. The magnetic curtain to keep that push going. That's going to be a straggling prison coming in as Sestroid pushes in with the Blaster Barrage. Takes out 3! And Luminosity wipes Supremacy off the board here. Oasis running back to base. Bad Genius back up in the sky, but forced to wait.
I will unleash mighty havoc. Let
Naga
my enemies
up high. Going to drop a little bit of siege onto the point. Wolver. Wall above in case anyone tries to engage into the point here. Iron Wall to hold the line. Here comes Naga into the choke point with the Omega Hurricane. Absolutely counted out, forced to retreat. Very good positioning. Level 1 Crook has also fallen, and that's going to allow the possibility for Supremacy to try and make their way in. That's going to be an invisible boundary. Immediately dropped, countering onto Atrocity. Meteor M to try and block him out. Omega Hurricane into the straggling prison as they try to capitalize, taking out Naga. Trying to get onto the Vanguards, but they're just too tanky here. Trust me, fools. Level 1 Crook cloning, but it might be too late. Invisible Boundary will allow them to touch the point, though, so they can buy time for their team, but they're going to get zoned out. Double jump, walls focus down, and down they go. Supremacy take the point back. Luminosity on 52%, Supremacy on 12. Sestroid, Galactic Legend at the ready. They also have that Strangling Prison. Only ultimates currently available, although Invisible Boundary is almost at the ready for Maluki. Sestroid creeping in. Takes a lot of damage right off the bat. Taken out. And trust me, immediately backing away, holding on to their ultimate. They really want to wait until that damage output is there, or at least until Naga has their own Omega Hurricane to try and turn this round. Luckily, Sestroid is a quick rollout, already making their way back to the rest of the team. Defense position being held by Supremacy. 48, Luminosity up on the high ground, trying to make their way in, pulled in. Galactic Legend, Strangling Prison, not used. They dropped it early. Invisible Boundary shuts it down, and Sestroid is cleaned off the point here. Wolver takes out Rajaro. And the positioning of Supremacy continues to extend their lead. Trust me, still has that Straggling Prison. Omega Hurricane's almost available for both Storms right now. Invisible Boundary about to be there for Fate. Level 1 Crook now has their own copy here. They could even go for their own Omega Hurricane. But they now have double invisible boundaries. Bad Genius gonna be the ones that pull the trigger first. Finds a lovely corner of enemies. Pulling them in, forcing the immediate invisible boundaries to try and hold the team Kraken Impact, to try and capitalize. That's going to be a beautiful struggling prison as we see a beautiful pickup. Naga wiping the defenders off the board. It's a 2 for 3 in favor of Luminosity, who are trying to turn this round. They take down Wolver, and it's going to be Luminosity back on the point. The invisible boundaries buying a little bit of extra time, though, thanks to Oasis, giving them a chance to get back onto the point. DRP bringing out the portal so they can recontest. It's 99 to 62 right now. Luminosity in control. Here comes the copy. Invisible boundary at the ready so they can try and contest this. Immediately going to get dropped. Tries to force DRP off the edge, dropping them low, and they are taken out. The portal play shut down. Luminosity will hold. This is round 1 of map 3. Who is going to take the lead as the Luminosity creep on in towards that 100%? But Supremacy, they only have to take it back and hold it through an overtime. Supremacy back onto the point. Ultimates not really are in the cards for Supremacy. They've got a visible boundary, and that's about it. Meteor M, a Galactic Legend available for Luminosity as they're going to try and hold this up to the high ground in the overtime. Galactic Legend, but immediately countered out. They have to head into Meteor M. Takes out Bad Genius as they head inside the invisible boundary. Groot is trying to take him down. Good dodge. Here comes the Omega Hurricane, capitalizing with Zestroid to take down a Trusty Wolver and DRP, who's sent off the edge. Fate with the knockback, and Luminosity take round 1 of map 3. Luminosity creeping their way towards the continuation of that upper bracket. Supremacy, 1 loss away from being sent down to the lower bracket, where they will be fighting for their tournament lives every single week.
30 seconds before you attack.
The pressure is on. We're seeing no other swaps. The team's pretty happy with what's been going on so far, although Oasis, as we already mentioned, did stick with the Loki. Fate has a BRB out. I expect they will probably also swap to Loki once their team is armored up. No reason not to. 25 armor is 25 armor.
3, 2, 1.
Swap to Jeff for speed boost.
All you need to do is capture the mission area.
And they're not going to be the Loki because Loki's already there. They are Invisible Woman. Double jump to catch up to their team. Does put it on cooldown, but it's a quite low cooldown. It's not so bad. Trust me. Only ultimate is going to be ready for this initial engage, but we do just see Kraken Impact come off. Quick pull in, and suddenly Fate forced to drop a lot of healing into Trust Me to make sure that they're able to stay up in this fight. Pushing in, straggling prison. They're going to try and capitalize through this. Wolver is isolated, pushed on in, but that's going to be the invisible boundary to allow them to fight on through. Bad Genius does fall, but Frosty is getting the turnarounds there as a Trusty takes them down. Straggling prison was utilized. But Luminosity, they are holding. Level 1 Crook will fall, but they're delaying a pretty long time here. Both these teams brawling on the point between 2 and 3 members. Constantly there. Takes down Rajaro with the melee. And we are seeing Wolver smashing through this. And that's a lot of ultimates now available for Supremacy as they control the point. Omega Hurricane, Invisible Boundary, and Meteor M at the ready. Luminosity, Meteor M almost ready. Straggling Prison almost ready. Omega Hurricane almost ready. Galactic Legend essentially ready. And Invisible Boundary just coming off cooldown. Both these teams are going to be ulted up for this next engage. Slow creep to start us off for Luminosity. Fade up to the high ground. Slowly healing them up. Takes a little bit of damage, doesn't want to get caught out. Bad Genius. Both of the Storms dropping their Omega Hurricanes into the backline to try and set themselves up to push on in. Doing huge damage as Bad Genius matched on the other side. Neither one finds the elimination. And the difference is Supremacy, they didn't use either of their ultimates to try and defend against this. They absorbed that without any of the big healing ultimates. Luminosity lose Naga and are held off the point once again. That was purely an Omega Hurricane for an Omega Hurricane and an invisible boundary. Supremacy holding beautifully this time. Holding on to the point, here comes the Galactic Legend from Zestroid to try and push on, but the invisible barrier is shutting down their opportunity to try and re-engage here. They just wait for the ultimate to expire, but invisible boundary was utilized. Ultimate being used by level 1 Crook so they can get their next invisible boundary. Here's the clone for Oasis as well, doing the exact same thing as Kraken Impact comes out. Meteor for Rajaro takes out Bad Genius. Naga goes down to Atrocity, who's trying to capitalize, trying to snowball through, but they will not be finding another reset here. But they might be finding the Star-Lord, but they're forced to back up, and Zestroid will dash away. Oasis is holding the line, keeping Wolver healed up so that they can have that body on the point. Luminosity, they're starting to get the numbers advantage as everyone is here, but Wolver is tanking through so nicely. Great wall, though, from Trust Me, and that will make sure that Wolver goes down. 99-0, though. Supremacy are set up nicely.
I will unleash mighty
Set up very nice to try and turn this in their favor. Maluki at the ready with that invisible boundary. A Mega Hurricane available for Bad Genius. Very little else left. I did not know you could break that area. Good to know. Preventing the flying with that Psionic Vortex. Trying to get up to the high ground so they can get onto Zestroid. Lightning shot coming out. Zestroid will go down. Omega Hurricane for both sides. Straggling Prison from Luminosity to try and push on through. But level 1 Krug and Naga are the ones to go down. As the invisible boundary from Maluki lets them tank on through. Fate, their invisible boundary was not enough as Atrocity resets through. And Supremacy claim back the point, evening up the score on map number 3. Meaning it all comes down to one final round. Zestroid is going to try and delay. Portal comes in. Soldier's Fist to zone him off. And it comes down to this. Eldritch Monument. Where one team will be ascending to the next round in the upper bracket, and one team will be sent down to the lower bracket, dragged down by the Kraken themselves. And it all comes down to this. Atrocity. Ultimate is bugged, not yet available. Going to be seeing the God of Mischief at the ready. Meteor M at the ready. Rajaro with the Meteor M. Zestroid. Galactic Legend. All prepared. Naga moving off of the storm brings out Psylocke. This is a great Psylocke map. There's so many flanking areas. Nope. Change their mind. Back on the storm. Fate speed boost. Back onto the Invisible Woman. And it's the same strategy again from Luminosity. Same as Supremacy, though. Same stuff. Bad Genius on the storm versus Naga. Have a quick look at who's winning. Atrocity is apparently the one who is winning. 11 eliminations, 9 final hits. Sorry, 16 eliminations, 11 final hits. Galactic Legend from Zestroid coming out very early, trying to burn through the Meteor M, and Invisible Boundary will shut it down again. Shutting down the Galactic Legend, but still doing a pretty solid amount of damage as Atrocity tries to burn through that front line as Supremacy take control of the point. Down goes level 1 Crook. Naga just running back to base here. Fate also in full retreat, but they're getting chased down, force push, and wiped off the board by Wolver, DRP. It's a full retreat out of Luminosity to regroup Zestroid onto the Winter Soldier of their own. Star-Lord has been abandoned. Gonna try and get that extra DPS, try and get some isolation, some bionic hooks perhaps. Tainted Shock. Onto the point. Invisible Boundary now at the ready for Maluki. Bad Genius with that Omega Hurricane. Naga just about to have theirs, and level 1 Crook gonna have that clone. LG Fate with their own. Here come the Hurricanes. Naga immediately the invisible boundary. Bad Genius, exactly the same, just barely overrupting. Level 1 Cook with their own Omega Hurricane though, but they are wiped from the board by Atrocity with reset after reset. Atrocity is the mightiest. Beware the power of the goddess, beware the power of an angry man with a robot arm. Atrocity smashing through there. 3 Omega Hurricanes in that fight, but it's a Kraken Impact that is able to claim the pickups. DRP with the Meteor M at the ready. Rajaro has their own, trust me, with Straggling Prison at the ready, holding on to it at least for the moment, but they're getting dropped a little bit low, forced to back up, healed up very quickly. Destroyed down with their own Kraken Impact. For the potential of the counter, here comes DRP with Meteor M directly onto the regeneration domain as Rajaro will match in kind. Takes out the Loki clone on the Oasis as Cestroid gets 1 reset, looks for 2 but shut down by Wolver. Atrocity sets it up on the overtime. Is this it? Have they held it? 99-0. Trying to hold it. Fate gets onto the point to hold the overtime at least a little bit. Trust me with the Straggling Prison, but they're dropped low, forced off. And who's left touching the point? Naga portals the team in. Cestroid is taking it, but Omega Hurricane cleans them off the point. And Supremacy live up to their name. Taking the map and the series in a 2-1. Maluki takes the MVP. The healing output was off the charts there. Supremacy take the series. And Luminosity will be sent down to the lower bracket. If Luminosity lose again, then they will be eliminated. But there's still hope for them to fight on through and make their way back to the finals. Now with 2 teams they need revenge on. OG from the Invitational and now Supremacy from the MRC itself. 25 eliminations for Maluki, sorry. Only getting taken out twice and with 41k healing, which is the highest by 3k, beating out Fate. Top eliminations, 36 for Bad Genius. I would not be surprised if we start seeing Storm banned out. Simple as. While Atrocity did top the numbers, a lot of them came down to those America Hurricane setups. 36 eliminations, 13 final hits, 22k damage. Evening up with Trust Me and Naga. Bringing out that last tank at the end there to try and bring it back. Teleporting in with the Strange to try and make sure they can get onto the point. It's a smart play. Even if you're a damage dealer, it is still smart. If you can get your team to the point faster, then you should do it. Just because you're the DPS, just because you have at the time, might have been the highest eliminations on your team. If you had the best KD, who cares if you're doing the best damage, which they were probably at the time. It does not matter. If your team doesn't make the point and you had the opportunity to do something about that, then you have failed them. It's everyone's job to make sure that the best effort is made. 20 final hits, 31 eliminations for Atrocity there, who just put on such a performance this game. The more earlier, the Winter Soldier here, just doing so much work. And they do get the most damage here, 23k to top out the DPS. Top damage blocked, 52k in most games would be enough to top that, as Wolfer did such a good job. But it's going to be, trust me, with 56k damage blocked. But the difference is they got taken out 9 times in comparison to Wolver's 6. So Wolver had more effective damage taken per time being eliminated. We've already talked about top healing. Maluki, 41k, beating out the 38k of Fate and both 34ks for both Lokis. Oasis, though, never getting eliminated that series. Huge play there. Nicely done. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. And that's it for my cast for today. And the day I record, as you know, I record quite a few in one go. But that'll do for me. I'll record some more tomorrow. But I need a break after that. What an incredible series. If you enjoyed, leave a comment. Do you think Luminosity will be able to keep going through the lower bracket and make their way back in? Or has their journey come to an end? Do you think they'll make it into that final bracket stage? Let me know. And who else do you want to see me cast? Please leave a comment to help the algorithm. Say something algorithm friendly. What's good in the algorithm right now? What's popular? I don't know. I'm not up to date. I just like Marvel Rivals stuff. Put Red Hulk in the chat. I don't know. What's popular? Thunderbolts? I don't know. That might be out by the time this video comes out. Who knows? Alright. Thanks for watching, everybody. Shout out to our member, John. Become a member like John and get shouted out in these videos. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.